We're going a little bit higher up the ladder here. We just got to treat it to some Nevix, but it's time to check out some Lee. We love this guy, and we love seeing this matchup because they get it so often. It's Kasva versus Leenok. But hold up. Is it me, or does it look like they've swapped civs? Did I say thank you to Nevix for the sub? Thank you, Nevix. See, now I see it on a YouTube video. Mwah. Glad to have you back. But faces that we don't have to be upset at the disappearance of. Leenok and Kasva, two of the hardest grinders, I'd say, at the top of the leaderboards. Like, that's not to take away from anyone else. I mean, like, they hit it nonstop. Kasva plays so many games. So does Leenok. Leenok, actually, the funny part about him is this ratio of games played to hours in the game makes no sense unless you think he has 3-hour average games. Because this guy, like, every time I get on, every time I get off, he's just sitting on Age of Empires. A lot of the time, he's not even playing is the funny part. But this guy definitely has a lot of games, and they are pretty closely matched. Kasva was top 10, but has quickly sunk down to 15th today. And Kaz, like, he's up to a respectable almost 300 games played now on the new ranked Season 2. Leenok, in comparison, up at 152. Still a respectable number. But Kaz, you can see the kind of grind that comes out. I mean, this guy is full-time. Like, he sweats it. He loves it. Still hasn't qualified for the Warlord tournament. I'd be bummed out for him at this stage. I mean, there's a bunch of people I'd be bummed out for, but like, there's no doubt. Like, this guy has consistently been in the top 20, top 30. He's got the most games played, or definitely one of the highest amounts of games played, alongside people like Kiljadi. And he has made decent runs in Warlord, which is why I always like to check in on him. I think like Kasva, I don't know if it's a mental block per se. There's something about him in pubs versus in competitive that I've yet to see him overcome. And I think you're going to see exactly what I'm talking about here. Like, he could easily give Leenok a run for his money. And that's not to discount Leenok. That's just to show you the level that Kaz is on. And if there's something that Kaz got a bad rap for in the last patch, it was this. Outpost rushing. And if there's something he's going to try to do in this game up against the French before they can even dream of teching up, outpost rush. And the Chinese are damn good at this as well. Their build speed is superior to every other civ in the game. Worse still for Leenok. Look at this. Dude, you can tell this guy has practiced these builds. He's just on the edge. And he's just unseen. And now insta garrison in. Ari's going to come out. Leenok's like, what the hell? The scout isn't doing that. What's happening? Death. Death is happening. He'll get just out of range. And this is where Kasva's going to double down. Second outpost about to come out. Just dropped off the wood required. And no deer for Leenok. He's going to need all the sheep he can get, but right now he hasn't returned those sheep. He will at least see this second outpost coming out. Now, Kasva, I don't want him to get overkill about this. I think this is the moment where you're happy with what you've done, and you don't go too much further. The sucky part for Kaz here is actually the deer are just close enough to the TC that he can't take them himself. He can take one, but the rest are inaccessible for him. And it looks like Kasva is going to weave around the side, so it looks like he's not done yet. He wants to block out the gold as well, and Leenok is already mirroring his movement. Wall's going to go up. That should bring an end to the plan. Kasva can see this as well. Dude, he finds the deer. He finds the deer right on the edge. I love this. And also, for those wondering why no mill, well, for a start, he only just got the wood, but more importantly, you want to just gather and move away, then drop a mill. It might even be worth dropping a mill here to get 280 food on this source. The alternative is you go for a lumber camp, and I think that might be what he's looking towards. Problem is he's already got one at home, and he already has 6 people working there, as well as a taxman at home. That's kind of the weird thing, actually, I think, for the Chinese, is compared to other civs, because they have this taxation element, there's less desire to do pocket ecos in your opponent's base. And Kaz is now going to wall in the outpost. Dude, I love his go for the longevity on the block out. In the meantime, also now wrapping south side. Scout is going to go down. Kasva, a little bit of drunk driving there. We'll now set up the outpost. School Cavalry is going to start being built by Leenok. Only 2 villages working on it right now. A lot of people pulling back now from that wood line. Kasva behind this. Remember that he has sacrificed his own tech up timing. This is a big investment so far. And the villager pull. Oh no, Kasva! Mistakes have been made. And this is the greed of the all-in outpost play. Remember, for anyone right now is going, why Kasva not get on the stone? Where's the hand cannon slits? What a noob. Report. He can't. Chill. He can't. He's in Dark Age. He needed feudal for this. That's the whole purpose of this wall-in. The wall-in was meant to prevent the outpost going down before a tech up. But Leenok, his TC got a freebie on the villager, and then he did not hesitate. We'll move out and torch this down. Oh, Kasva, man. I don't know. You big-brained yourself here. I think he got way too greedy. This is someone we typically see people, they get this kind of cool idea. They're like, yeah, outpost working really well. They double down, they double down, they double down. And they split up way too much like this. I don't know. Like, I'm wondering if Kasva could have went for a Rax to this build. I don't think so, though. I think it would have been too expensive. I think he just needed... Well, he could have went Rax, proxy Rax, right? And then built 2 spears, and it's fine. But this was way too greedy. Kasva's now playing from behind. I mean, yeah, he's got these outposts up. Yeah, he'll block the wood, but he's not blocking the northern wood. I think this is the big problem I see in his build. And what makes it doubly worse is you've done this against the French. So normally you'd be like, oh yeah, he paid 50 resources for new resource drop-off buildings. Yeah, but it's the French, so they only paid 25. It's even less of a painful impact, and he ain't done there. Because Leenok knows that he still has the edge and that Kasva cannot be taken up, it looks like he's gone back towards the tree line. He's going to chop through, or at least try. And it looks like Kasva might be saved for a moment, but not for long. Leenok's in and torching it down already. Ah, dude, this is painful to watch from Kaz. He truly did big brain himself. I'm wondering, like, if this was a reaction to the Civ pick as well, because like you don't see French that often on Altai. And I'm wondering if he kind of saw French. He was like, huh, this feels like a bad matchup for me, so I'm going to try this. But yeah, like it's... I don't know. I think he's put too much into it now. And the problem that Kasva also has is he can't stop. So if he stops, he's going to have 4 villagers that have to run across the map without wheelbarrow. In fact, Kasva's goal here was to eventually get resources for a Barbican drop. He's just not going to get it, though. He does at least keep the villagers nearby, and Leenok was an overly ambitious boy there. We'll lose 1 of his villagers, but the outpost on the south side going down, and a tech up still not seeming feasible for Kasva. I mean, he's not balanced his eco at all. Look at his gold. This is out of control right now. Kasva needs to rebalance. I mean, for the ability to taxate, as well as the gold he's gathering, I don't understand what this split is. I guess it's... I know what it is. Kasva wants back-to-back tech up, so... What? Now I am confused. So, well, I mean, it kind of makes sense, right? The Barbican can't be aggressive because the knights are out. But... this just feels bad. This feels really bad to have to do in this game. Leenok's had enough, man. He's on his way. And Kasva will at least get the Barbican up to protect his own deer, but these knights won't stop. The good news for Kasva fans is he got enough gold on the vein. He actually has the secondary tech up. He needs to get the stone, though. And although you've got the Barbican protecting you somewhat, this stone can be harassed. For now, though, knights cycling in. Interesting choice. Leenok prioritized villages instead of the Imperial Official. Kind of surprised by that. For those wondering, you definitely want to take the Imperial Official. Think about the numbers here. So let's say you've got 10 people gathering on food. Well, actually taking out 2 villages is equivalent to taking out the Imperial Official. In terms of raw cost, the Imperial Official is worth 3 villages. And part of it is gold. And what did we just highlight about Kasva's gold? He has just enough to get him by. This would have turned the screws. This would have put up the pressure a little. So maybe a little bit suboptimal there out of Lee. Meanwhile, villagers still on the front line. I mean... it's awkward because you're like, yeah, I mean, dude, he's like blocking resources and he's harassing military, but also he has villagers here. These are villagers that should be working. So when you look at the eco count, Leenok is 1 villager ahead right now, but you have to give him an extra 3. Meantime, Kasva was spotted with his hand in the cookie jar. Look at Leenok, though. Speaking of greed, does this not look like a man who wants to go Castle Age? Which you do not say frequently of the French. They like to put them on a list of civs that would rush Castle, I would have them easily bottom 3. I would actually say out of all the civs in the game, the French is the one that will rush Castle the least. I think most people would agree with that. But he's going for it. Like, he's full in for it. And I kind of understand, right? Like, his opponent is condensed. He doesn't have much in the way of defenses. He doesn't have much in the way of economy. He hasn't accessed stones, so he's not booming up. Leenok is just looking for a big tech up advantage, because once he gets that, he'll get a trebuchet to clean up all the outposts, and then he'll slowly come towards Kasva's base. Kaz, awkwardly enough, hasn't actually eco-boomed, and he hasn't built military either. So one trebuchet could slowly delete the base. It's pretty cool. Not many French players would think to do this. Because they're overall greedy in a different way, right? The little Schmeagles, they want their knights. They want to put all that gold back into harassment. But it's a great read by Leenok. And I think this is informed by the fact that there's no gathering on the stone outcropping and there's no Imperial Academy. These two variables together gave Leenok the justification for this build. What's Kasva's response to? Kasva, man. It's not June anymore. It's August. There's been a patch. Have you read the notes? He's not stopping. Oh, man. And this is going to be rough. Like, he's doubled down on outposts. He's built spearmen to inhabit the outposts. And Leenok is going for a tech up that will give him access to trebuchets. This is a rough one for Kaz. Spinning in the meantime. I'm going to start diving in. Villagers will pull back. Leenok needs a little bit more wood. He can access it on the south side. Gold is safe as well, which means he can get his trebuchet. He can also just go man-at-arms. Like, man-at-arms could just GG Kasva out of this game because Kaz doesn't have any scalability still. In fact, he started investing in so many outposts and so many spears that he doesn't even have Song Dynasty. There's the bad news for Kasva. What will he do next? Well, for the time being, he's going to try to burn down some houses. I noticed that Leenok, so some people think this is like ultra greedy, but in some ways it's sensical. So Leenok had two choices. He either rushes Castle Age or goes TC Boom, but the problem with TC Boom is you don't have any room because of all the outposts. Some people now are going to flag, why don't you just go French Knights? Well, there is not a single civ in the game that's worse to build French Knights against. Actually, no, that's unfair. Abbas is really high. But Chinese is up there. And the reason they're up there is these hand cannon slits. Like, so if your answer to all these static defenses you're seeing is to build knights, you're making really bad trades. Even with the ranged upgrades, you're not even offsetting 20% of the damage these outposts do. And right now, like, you go, oh, well, why would, what, that doesn't make sense. People always build knights, even against people who build static defenses. Yes, who are not playing Chinese. Normally, these static defenses, you can see they do a lot less damage. Like the TC does 8 damage here, for example. That's a lot less than hand cannons. And sure, you can fire a lot of arrows, but it means that you're mitigating a lot of damage to these knights, whereas against the hand cannon slits, you simply aren't. That's why it wasn't worth continued knight production. Instead, this is a much better play. Man-at-arms, it gives you a way of building into the rams. Also gives you a way of escalating this kind of cheaper French knight. And the whole goal now is to reach a timing to just dive into the base and end Kasva. And Kasva's greed could easily be his undoing now. He's finally got the Song Dynasty. He's gone in for the second TC. He's trying to wrap around continuously with the outposts. The bad news is on the way, Kaz. And he should see it here. He can see the ram being built up on the edge. And you can see the man-at-arms coming as well. And also, look at this little bit of greed out of Leenok. Greed that's going to work really well here. He's gone for the relic play. And the reason this is good in this game is because there's 2 on the flanks close by. And Kasva's built a static force, so he's not looking anywhere else on the map. In fact, if you look at Kasva's vision, if you actually look at what he's done, look at the entire vision for the game. He never went down the flanks. He didn't even dream of looking there. Kasva, I'll give him credit for staying the course. From start to finish in this game, his goal has been simple. Outposts. However, the effectivity of those outposts might be coming to a close. Nice wrap with the spears. He's willing to throw them away to get rid of the ram if he can. But it's a big ask if the ram shifts away. And Leenok is now starting to peel it back. Limited spearmen remaining. The body block slowing him down. Repairs are going to come out. The ram will be able to finish off the rest of these outposts. And practically all spearmen going down. No nothing gained for it. On upside is Kasva can at least middle finger religion here as the Monk is running past these hand cannon split outposts. However, they seem to be diverting their attention onto the man-at-arms. Not a good move here. Repairs, fully done. Now, if I'm Leenok, I just run this Monk around. Ambitious. I actually think Leenok would have been served better by just microing the Monk around. The man-at-arms kept attacking the spears. Overall, he can still come out for this afterwards. I mean, he's achieved his goal of breaking out. Monk. Ooh. Oh, mistakes made. Dude, Leenok has not been optimal with these Monks. They're just kind of being thrown away. It's just almost on autopilot mode. Like, yeah, I've won this. I don't care. I'm just going to click things places. And you can kind of see why he feels that way. Like, Kasva does have the eco lead now, but his military is gone. And he doesn't have Castle Up available. He doesn't have the resources for it. And now with man-at-arms arriving in his base, you know, the upside is you've got hand cannon slits. The downside is that Leenok already researched siege engineering. He can just ram your ass out of this game. This guy has no chill. In he goes. These Barbicans, man, they're just not doing enough damage quick enough. Not against this many man-at-arms. So the thing we should address here is, like, I highlighted the issue with the Knights and how quickly they die. Well, you're paying half price for these man-at-arms. They almost have as much health as those Knights we were talking about. And that's why it's such an effective thing to just dive in. Kasva, you know, he's going to take chip damage on the eco. He did go for textiles to kind of shrink those losses a bit, but heavy injuries in lead to eventual deaths. In the meantime, back in the base of Leenok, he has full control now. The relic's starting to be yoinked up. This is easily a 4-relic game. Pocket Eco's now being played by Leenok to keep the income up. Kasva will need to come up with an answer quickly. His answer is ugly. Shuge knew. Is Kasva doing a feudal challenge max only challenge? Is he doing a I can only tech up when my opponent techs up first challenge? Like you know, you have to be an age behind challenge is what he's doing. It makes sense now. Kasva's like, yeah, you go feudal, I have to stay dark age. You go castle, I can be feudal. It kind of feels that way. Now, of course, I know he did upgrade to feudal when Leenok was still feudal, but it really does have that feeling about it. Like, Kasva's doubled down. I think now he doesn't have a choice, though. The Rams are coming, and he knows it. Knight's going to march in. Leenok clearly just wants to go to bed. He's like, I've had enough of this game. Just die. Knight's just headbutting spears. Doesn't seem like the best of ideas, but the man-at-arms do. You can see the Rams are going to shuffle in. I mean, the problem is the spears will lose the battle, and the Rams can just move into the base. And also behind this, Leenok has now gone back for the secondary TC. Another thing to think about is Leenok just got the fat stack of stone. He can keep drop. He could lock Kasva in his base. Kasva still just trying to survive for the time being. Rams now knock at the door on the Barbican as the man-at-arms keep clashing. New wave is coming behind this. Relic's still not picked up in the center yet by Leenok. However, he is now starting to push into the Knights as well, so you have a way to dive into the eco. And remember, because this game is almost 20 minutes in. Yes, I know you look at the numbers right now, it doesn't make sense. But that's because of the build that Kasva done. Because we're about 20 minutes into this game, look at what's happening for Kasva. He can't just play condensed anymore. He's going pocket ecos. This delayed build-up from Leenok now into Knights is going to exploit and extract a lot more value than it would otherwise. Especially with the continued pressure in the base. These Rams are going to go down, but it's just keeping him in. It's keeping him locked in. It's keeping him locked down. Like, look at the count right now. Sure, Kasva has the numerical advantage, but he has no way of teching up because he has to keep replacing. Well, we talked about the Knights raiding around. It was actually the man-at-arms at the end, but Knights should make their way in soon. And Sacred Sites are also a goal now for Leenok. He's also going for the ball play. Love the way he's utilizing pocket ecos in what is essentially a free situation. I think Kasva's goal should now be to reach castle. Like, he needs castle as a recovery into Lancers. He shouldn't be fighting directly, but what he should be doing is, like, just trying to wrap into the eco lines of Leenok and do what Leenok will now try to do as well, which is snipe villagers. Wool. Very early Wool. Not a bad idea. If Kasva hadn't been paying attention and didn't see it straight away, which he wouldn't have, then he would have ran into his death. But Leenok knows it's going to be a quick reaction. Now the Sacred Site cap's going to come out. We'll return the Relic. Kasva, this push is going to make it obvious what he's doing. It's the first time Kasva's been able to come out of his base, and the reason is because he's trying to cover a tech up. He's trying to mask himself, but the issue is his food income sucks. He's on the deer now. That will give him the drop-off, and it looks like he did trade gold for food, so he will get what he needs and more. And now he needs to rush up. This could be the counter. Getting into 2 or 3 Nesta Bees against mass man-at-arms is pretty damn effective. However, the issue I do see is Leenok isn't just massing man-at-arms. He switched back towards Knights, remember. Speaking of those man-at-arms, I think they're about to be rewarded for the hunting. Kasva I don't know where he's running right now. He should be rebuilding a wall. Instead, he's trying to play for the Southern Deer, I think. A little bit too greedy, in fact. I think Leenok is now going to try to force Kasva to come out more frequently by going for the trip Sacred Site cap. Man, just look how ugly those numbers are right now for Kasva. It's kind of crazy to think, like, you're playing China, you have a 20 villager lead, but to his credit, it's due to the fact that Leenok has played onto pocket ecos a lot. You know, deer, boar, not to mention the fact that he picked up the relics, right? He's up to 4 of them total. That's why he's ahead. And then also the other thing to think about is when we look into Kasva's base, he's supervising. He's supervising military production, though. So he's not actually getting an extra 20% drop-off. That's why the Chinese eco looks bad here. I mean, it feels bad to be doing this. Like, long-term wise, it's just better to be supervising the drop-off buildings, the extra wood, and then build the extra infrastructure. The reason he hasn't done that, by the way, is that Kasva lacks room. He needs a lot of this room for farms. So he actually doesn't have that much room to spread out his production lines. That's why he's trying to reclaim some ground here. Keep going up, but the spring order placement is a pain in the ass, going to cost him a few villages in the process. That lead is shrinking. Only 15 villages ahead now for Kasva. All sacred sites under the control of Leenok. And this is where he wants to start turning the screws. Army is escalating. Kasva is in trouble. Because right now, he's still reliant on spears and Shugenu. And everything that Leenok has built is heavily armored. You can see him now wrapping as well. He'll breach through the palisades fast. The issue with this for Kasva is he's out of position, so he's not peppering them down to begin with. When they break through, Leenok's composition wins. Actually, what I'd love to see from Leenok is if Kasva triggers a fight, I just want to see him send the Knights in and the Man-at-Arms fight. Right now, though, what? Dude, many doubts right now. Kasva, he'll eventually get the outpost, but it's going to cost him a lot. And in the meantime, the backside of his base is about to go full idle. Dude, Kasva is just like, he's karaokeing right now. He's like, I will go down with this ship. From start to finish in this game, let it not be said that Kasva is not consistent. However, right now, I feel like it's going to be consistency for a loss. Backside, Man-at-Arms are in. Village being torched down with all those villagers inside. Man-at-Arms are going to engage. Shugenu trying to pepper them down, but my goodness, do they tank a lot of shots here. With the double range upgrade, you're doing 1 damage times 3. Not exactly a quick slay. Knights peel off, and all of a sudden, as soon as Kasva feels confident, he realizes he cannot be. Leenok also went for Imperial Age behind all this. He teched up a mile ahead of the Chinese. Like, this is just out of control. He'll throw away the army because he can get good trades on the eco. And he's still going to come in with an even stronger wave behind this. My, oh my. And it was, of course, the College of Artillery on the backside. Cannons are going to be coming out. This, he still hasn't killed them. He still hasn't killed them. Oh, these Man-at-Arms are so infuriatingly tanky. Kasva, bro, we need to talk. Yeah, I agree. You're in Castle Age. Build some bloody crossbows. I don't know if he's going to be able to build them quick enough. I mean, after that, the eco is neck and neck in villages. But the income is clearly in favor of Leenok. Especially that guild hall ready to pump out more resources. Something Knights might finally be answered, but not before they torch down a few farms to just annoy Kasva even more. I'm sorry, it's a serious game, but at the same time, it's just like, it's Kasva, man. He's built up a reputation for this type of play. And I thought we'd seen the end of it. But no. Maybe this will be the end of it. You know, maybe Kasva's just going to lean back in his chair, think about it for a second, and go, yeah, I went a little bit too far with the outpost. I may have been a little bit overkill with that play. It may have been to my detriment here. Definitely felt to his detriment. I think that's going to be it. Keeps going down. After that, the floodgates are open. The villager's already being sniped. The villager pull doesn't even feel that impressive because it's in keep range. And Kasva's now behind by clear margin. GG gets called. Kasva, he might not win them all, bud, but goddamn do you entertain.